Hi, my name is Nur Sufia binti Nordin. My matrix number is 19DDT22F2030. So right now I will present to you for question B, which is we need to discuss why we add C and plus C in every indefinite integral question. Also, we need to give the answer and show the answer by giving at least 3 examples. So I'm going to start this presentation with the why we add C in every indefinite integral question. So for the first point, we add C for every indefinite integral question. It is because they an unnumberable infinite number of possible solution with sort of constant. C in indefinite integral is constant and possible for any solution, and it is also a numberable number. So for the second point is when we differentiate a function, it represents the rate of change. So when we differentiate a function, C will represent the rate of change for the expression and for the solution. And for the point number 3, C also the constant of integration represent all possible constant terms that could have been present in original function. So C also is the constant term that we can find in original function. So let's start with example 1. So for example 1, the question is 2x plus 3 dx. So to solve this example, we can apply power rule to solve this example number 1. So before we apply the power rule, we must make it into terms. So right now we will have two terms, which is for the first term we have 2x dx for the first term, and for the second term we will have 3 dx. For the second term we will have 3 dx. So right now we already have two terms. So after we have two terms, we can make it into x and dx. So after we make it into x and dx, we must make it terms by terms. So let's solve for the first term first. So after we make it into x dx, we will have 2 times x dx. So that is for the first term. So right now we know that n for 2 times x dx, the n is 1. So we must apply the power rule for terms number 1. So right now we can see after apply the power rule, which is n is 1, we get x power of 2 for term number 1. So this is for term number 1. So right now we already have the power rule answer for term number 1. So let's solve for terms number 2, which is 3 dx. So we must make it into x dx first to find the n. So after we apply the x dx, and we know that n for the second term is 0. So after we know the n for the second term, we can apply the power rule at the second term. So after apply the power rule for the second term, we will get x times 3 times x, where is n is 0. So this is the answer for the second term. So after we get the answer for both terms, we can combine it so it can make the new expression. So it will be x power of 2 plus 3x plus c, which is that is the answer for the example number 1. So this is the answer for example number 1. I'm going to explain to you for example number 2, which is the question is 4x power of 3 plus 2x power of 2 plus 5x plus 1 dx. So to solve the expression, we can apply the power rule. So before we apply the power rule, we must make it into terms. So right now, we will have 4 terms, which is for the first term, we will have 4x power of 3 dx. And for the second term, we will have 2x power of 2 dx. And for the second term, we will have 5x dx. And for the last term, we will have 1 dx. So to make it, to apply the power rule to each term, we must finish term by term. So let's do for the first term first. Okay, so right now for the first term, we must make it into x and dx first to find the n. So right now, after we already find the n for the first term, which is the n for the first term is 3. So right now, we can apply the power rule for the first term. So after apply the power rule to the first term, we will get the answer for the first term is x power of 4. So this is the answer for the first term. So after finish for the first term, let's continue for the second term. So let's continue for the second term. We make it into x and dx first. So right now we will get the answer 2 times x power of 2 dx, where n for the second term is 2. So right now we can apply the power rule to the second term. So we will get 2 over 3 times x power of 3. So that is the answer for the second term. Okay, so let's go to the third term. We make it into x dx, so we will get 5 times x dx, and the x for this one is 1. So after apply the power rule, so we will get the answer is 5 over 2 times x power of 2. So that is the answer for the third term. And for the last term, which is 1 dx, so the answer for this, to make it into x dx, so equal to x, and we can just continue because the x for 1 dx is 1. So we just can combine all of the result for each term and make it into plus c, which is that is the answer for example number 2. So this is the answer for example number 2. Okay, so right now let's continue for the example number 3. Okay, so for example number 3, the question is 3x power of 2 plus 4x plus 2 dx. So same like example 1 and example 2, we can solve it by the power rule. Okay, so before we apply the power rule, we must make it into terms. So to make it into terms, we will have 3 terms. So for the first term, we will have 3x power of 2 dx, and for the second term, we will have 4x dx, and for the last term, we will have 2 dx. Okay, so after already we make it into terms, we must make it into x dx for each term. Okay, so for the first term, we will get 3 times x power of 2 dx. So right now we know that the n for the first term is 2. So we can apply the power rule for the first term. So we will get x power of 3 for the first term. So this is the answer for the first term. Okay, so right now let's solve for the second term. So for the second term, we will get 4 times x dx, which is the x for this one is 1. So we know that the n for the second term is 1, so we can apply the power rule. So after apply the power rule, we will get the answer is 2x power of 2. So for the last term, which is 2 dx, we will get 2 times dx. So for this term, the n for the third term is 0. So we know that the n is 0, so we can make it into the power rule and we will get 2 times x. So after we already get all of the answer, we can combine it into the new expression. So this is the answer for the example number 3, which is x power of 3 plus 2x power of 2 plus 2x plus c. Why we add c in every example? It is because c represents the constant of the integration, which possible for all constant term. So that is why we use the power rule, and also that is why we add c in every example that I show you and present to you.